But yeah, it's pretty crazy. We're like, there's boredom above 100K right now. Like
Sure.
you said, John, it's been 6 months, just over 6 months since we first hit 100K. It's been, a couple more months than that, probably 8 months since we've seen it, a true kind of vertical run. So there's a little bit of boredom setting in at 100K, which is pretty wild to see. And like Alex says, retail's nowhere to be found.
No, yeah. This has been, I think there's a few things going on. I think people they haven't start fully paying attention yet. Like, yes, it's near all-time highs. Yes, it's done very well, but I don't think it's had the sort of run yet that really sucks in new retail. I think that's part of it. I also think there's like retail dollars, I think, are being diverted to some degree to the Treasury plays, which are like much higher volatility. And so I think there's these two factors. But I think as it heats up, Bitcoin price goes higher. I think we're over 120, over 130 soon. And I think you start to see more of that. We just haven't got there yet.
You heard it here first, folks.
So where do we want to go from here, Hurley? Maybe just as a fun one, and since I referenced it at the beginning, can we play the Brian Armstrong clip?
Yeah, I feel like this is pretty funny. Speaking of, you heard it here first. Here's Brian Armstrong.
Money has multiple purposes, right? It's a medium of exchange, which stablecoins is solving beautifully. It's also intended to be a store of value. And right now, democracies around the world are really struggling to get their deficit spending under control. And I think that Bitcoin actually, I guess my crazy little bit out there idea is that I think Bitcoin is going to provide an important check and balance on deficit spending. And if it gets out of control too much, people will flee to it in times of uncertainty. And it could actually end up that Bitcoin is the new reserve currency of the world.
Bitcoin is the new reserve currency. You heard it here first. Thank you, guys.
I may have heard that somewhere else first. I don't know. Like, is that the first time you guys heard that? Have you ever heard someone say that Bitcoin might be the new reserve currency?
Groundbreaking stuff right there.
Yeah.
It's a real out there idea.
Yeah. He'd be a good guest on some Bitcoin podcasts.
I mean, I'm trying to defend it a little bit. If he was presenting to a super TradFi normie audience, then that caveat could be required. It's like, hey, it's a little out there. You guys might be hearing this for the first time. According to the top left of that screen, that was a crypto event.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It's the year 2025. If people are following crypto, even if it's Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, you should have heard that 1,000 times going back at least 5 years. So for him to think that he needed to give that qualifier and say it's a crazy out there idea, and for her to say you heard it here first, it's like the crypto people are just in another world.
Like I don't blame it. It took me a while to understand Bitcoin, right? A lot of people, they go through a journey, they dabble in crypto, take some time to fully understand Bitcoin, right? I think it took me 4 years from first touching crypto to truly understanding Bitcoin. But surprising, coming from one of the earliest people to launch one of the largest companies touching Bitcoin, maybe it just took him the 8 years or however long, he's been around in the space to finally pick up the Bitcoin Standard or other amazing books. Maybe he's listening to his 40 hours a week of Bitcoin podcast now. Who knows? I think he gets it.
Brian Armstrong is finally saying good things about Bitcoin after 13 years because he finally started listening to Bitcoin podcasts. I think we figured it out.
That's it. Doesn't he always start to just talk about Bitcoin in the forefront, like right around this point in the cycle, and then he pivots to crypto stuff?
I could see it. I think, gut check, I think this is the most vocal and positive he's been with actually saying the Bitcoin word. And my base case for this year is the money goes into Bitcoin and Bitcoin plays. It does not go into crypto. I think crypto does not have a hot hand. They don't have a shiny new object. And I think the vehicle for the speculative returns has been denominated in Bitcoin with these companies. And so it's the speculative flows and the fundamental buying pressure. I think it just all turns into Bitcoin this time, or most of it, rather than this sucking sound towards the crypto markets.
Good segue to this. You had this take, Stephen, about kind of the crypto money funds pivoting to Bitcoin Treasury plays. I don't know if you want to talk about that for a little bit.
Totally. So, obviously there's been some news out, like I'm going to be working on treasury companies going forward. And so it's a part of the market I've been paying attention to. And so like the question is like, are we early? Are we late? Where are we in this trend? Like, some people are like, oh my God, these stocks have gone up so much. Like, are we at a top? Are we, et cetera? And so I've been paying attention to this, and the closer I've gotten to this segment of the market, the more I actually am truly convinced we're very early. We're at this very kind of nascent point in this. And the reason I come to that conclusion, it's a few points. I can't get into all of them here. But one of them is that like these stocks have been going up hundreds of percent. I'm talking about like the small international plays. And you basically see zero discussion of it on like crypto Twitter or crypto trading Twitter. And it tells you like these guys are not paying attention to it yet. Now, if they're not paying attention to it yet, I guarantee people that are even further removed from Bitcoin, normal people, normal capital, is not really paying attention to it yet. When I look at this phenomena, I see something that has barely spread beyond like an early group of Bitcoiners and MicroStrategy fans that were big on this topic for the last 6 or 8 months. This is that early cohort. And I'm just now I think yesterday was the first time I've ever seen like a big crypto account start posting about the treasury companies. Like, and it's like, there's one of them. And I guarantee you, like, once that fleshes out, you're in that kind of early ramp in this trend. So it's just something I watch, and, time will tell. But my conclusion is we're at the beginning of what's going to be a huge story this year.
Yeah. Didn't Charles Hoskinson like just come out? I know this is not directly related, but didn't he come out and say he was going to like sell a bunch of ADA, a bunch of his ship coin for Bitcoin on a treasury or something?
Yeah, they're going to just like buy Bitcoin and try to use the returns theoretically. Like, this is what he says, to like increase the price of ADA, which I don't think will happen. This is funny to me. This was funny to me because for years, Bitcoiners have said people only issue shitcoins to get more Bitcoin. Like, that's the function is to get your Bitcoin. This has been a saying. And I find it very ironic that the founder of one of these large cryptos has basically come out formally and said, okay, we're like, the function's going to be, we're going to sell it and we're going to buy Bitcoin. That's the strategy.
I have seen a few crypto media accounts talk about the Bitcoin treasury strategy, but they did it in a way where both of them were trying to get, they were trying to plant the seed of like, oh, this is a crypto treasury thing. And I just saw that and like laughed. I was like, you guys are trying to make this happen. Like, this is not a thing. It's a Bitcoin treasury thing. So, but I would still argue that aligns with what Steven is saying, is that they have not even appreciated that this is a Bitcoin treasury strategy thing. So like their pivot has yet to come.
And I think the pivot comes. I think it comes to both Bitcoin and these treasury companies. I think it's part of one big pivot. And it's just that like crypto has heavily underperformed Bitcoin, let alone these higher volatility aspects. And there's going to be this capitulation moment. Like, they're in denial right now. I think all these people are in denial. The alt season's going to come. Like, it's going to happen again. We just need to wait. But I think it's not. And I think eventually there will be this capitulation that is both like individual and traders and investors and speculators and whatever you want to call them. And they'll rotate to Bitcoin. But what the real opportunity is, at least on a flows basis, is the funds. Say what you will about retail getting fleeced, but there are so many funds that did very well in this environment over the last 8 years, playing in these markets and funding these things. And they're sitting on, I would guess, hundreds of billions of dollars, $100 billion plus. Like, there's quite a bit of money in these very successful funds. Maybe that's a little bit of a high estimate, but I'm guessing. And that money, realizing that there's only one place to deploy this cycle. That's not even me saying it's a cycle. I almost don't even like using that word right now. Who knows? Like, I think the market structure has evolved a lot, and we'll see what that looks like. But just in this moment in time, this bull market, I think they're going to realize there's only one place to deploy, and it's Bitcoin. And I think that those flows will come. They haven't yet, but they will.
Want to shout out BTC in DC. This should be a really fantastic event. If you care about Bitcoin policy and adoption in the US, you should really go to this event. It's going to be a mix of Bitcoiners, lawmakers, thought leaders. Terrence Yang, if you're listening, you love the term thought leaders. Right in the heart of Washington, the great capital of the United States. You can meet with people who are literally shaping Bitcoin's future from a regulatory perspective. So btcindc.com. Use the promo code SWAN for 10% off your ticket. Swan is a sponsor of this event. And also a quick shout out to Mara, the world's largest publicly traded Bitcoin miner, for supporting this show and for helping make Bitcoin the world's most decentralized and secure monetary network.